Welcome to the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast, the show where real estate investors talk strategy, capital, deals, and growth with your host, Dave Dubeau.
Chances are, if you've been around real estate investing for any length of time, you've heard of this kind of new asset class or something that's kind of gotten a lot of attention recently, and that is residential assisted living. Well, if you've heard of it or if you're interested in it, today you're in for a special treat because our guest, Isabelle Guarino, literally comes from a family that has been involved in this. She's second generation involved in residential assisted living. So not only does she do it, she helps other people get started with residential assisted living as well. So Isabelle, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So let's start off with a definition. What does residential assisted living mean to you?
Oh, there we go. I think when most people think of assisted living, we all think of that big commercial facility, long hallways, impersonal staff. And residential assisted living is simply a single family home that houses 6 to 16 seniors in a regular residential neighborhood where they're getting quality care and assistance. And so for me, it means the new wave of assisted living.
All right. Well, that sounds lovely. And as a real estate investment, it sounds complicated and potentially like an absolute nightmare. So, I mean,
more for me, Dave, more for me.
Exactly. So how do you explain this to people, real estate investors specifically, as an investment opportunity?
You know, the cool thing about this is that you can be on like the landlord side of this, where you own the real estate and either you're leasing it to an operator who's running this business inside your home. It's a way to cash flow better than, just a traditional single family rental, because they might be paying you 2 times the fair market rent because it's a large luxury home that you have renovated for assisted living, right? Or you can own the real estate and operate the business. How we do it is we show you how to really systemize it, where you're hiring and kind of outsourcing most of the roles. So you yourself are not living in the home, working in the home, and dealing with the seniors yourself. You're really running it more from a business, hands-off perspective. And in that way, you can cash flow really well, like $10K a month on that one, door. So there's kind of the landlord side, and then there's the owner operator. Of course, there's just the operator side, but that's not traditionally who I'm working with and speaking with. But there's a lot of different options and ways to get involved, depending on the involvement you want to have.
So what do you personally do these days, Isabelle? How are you involved?
I go both directions. I have homes that I lease to people who operate care homes inside my real estate. I love that because I don't do anything, right? I just get a check every month and it's beautiful and it's amazing. On the other hand, I have 3 homes that I actively own and operate. So for those, I'm really running more of the bigger picture stuff and doing like a weekly meeting with in the real estate world, we call them your property manager. In assisted living world, we call them the licensed administrator. But she's running all the day-to-day, doing hiring, firing, scheduling, dealing with the state, all of that. That's her. I just get to have meetings with her to say thumbs up, thumbs down, and keep it going.
Okay, cool. Well, I think for the purpose of today's conversation, we'll talk about both, but let's take a look at the landlord side of things, because that's a nice baby step. I think we can get our head around there and kind of go from it that way. So backing up for a second, in your experience, what or where are the best markets for these kind of residential assisted living homes?
The good thing is that with the baby boomer population coming into this market, 76 million seniors who are not there yet, but in the next 5 years, the tippy top, the eldest of the boomers will be going into this. We've got a 20-year run where we are currently sitting at 1.3 million beds short in assisted living. So there's not enough money in the world to build the beds needed for the coming trajectory of people who will need care. That's on one hand when I'm saying it could be anywhere, right? Because of those numbers and those statistics. Right. On the other hand, there's a difference between opening a home and opening a profitable home. If you want a profitable home, then I'm going to tell you, you need to go into the markets where the majority population is 50 to 70 years old, making 2 times the median income. And that is the adult child who is paying for mom or dad's care. So you want to be near them because they foot the bill, they make the decisions on where mom or dad's going, and they don't want to drive 45 minutes down the road.
Right, they want to go visit close by.
Yep. So you want to be near them. So it could be anywhere, but somewhere in the anywhere.
Okay, so again, coming at this from a landlord perspective,
Yep.
somebody who wants to get twice the normal rents for a single family home,
Yep.
but not deal with the management, so to speak.
Yes.
So we're kind of laser focusing in on where the adult kids are of these boomers.
Yep.
What kind of property should we be looking at, and how does that, what needs to be done with that property to get it lease ready?
So we want a large luxury upscale home in a nice part of town. So when we say single family, we don't mean a 3-bed, 2-bath on the rough side of town. We mean a large luxury, like 6,000 square foot, maybe already 6 bedrooms, 5 baths that you may renovate to become 10 bedroom, 8 bath. And now that operator is ecstatic to lease from you because you did all the work. You did the thing that you're comfy with and you like to do, and they might be not familiar with at all. So it's that perfect marriage where they say, I will pay for more for this because they're willing to pay for speed. So you solve that problem. And if you start with something that already has the footprint of just a larger home, it's easier to renovate, chop it up, and add more bedrooms and bathrooms.
So do you recommend to folks that they get the operator lined up before they start chopping things up?
I would.
100%.
I would. That's why in our trainings, a lot of people, they come together. One wants to be on the real estate. One wants to be maybe more on the medical or operations business perspective. Okay, great. That's a perfect partnership right there.
Okay. So you mentioned that you've got 1 or 2 of these kind of, or I don't know, you didn't tell me how many. You've got some of these kind of properties where you're just the landlord on it.
Yeah.
Maybe walk me through one of those so I can just kind of have a visual of what the property looked like originally, what it looks like now, what it could have rented for originally. If you're open to sharing the numbers, what it rents for now, just kind of fill in the dots.
One of my most favorite homes, I like to visit it the most often because it's the one I joke that I'll go to, right? I'm like, I'm going to move right in when it's my time. But that one, beautiful home, when we got it, it was 6,500 square feet, 6 bed, 5 bath with a 4-car garage. We renovated it to become 11 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, maintaining, living, dining, library, movie theater, all the things, right? So we just added more and turned that garage into bedrooms. The master became 2, just made it work for this purpose. Right. We ran it as assisted living for about 3 years. And then eventually somebody said, hey, I want to buy this from you. We said, okay, great. So the lease on that home, right? The mortgage, I should say, is only about $5,000, and someone pays me $12,000 a month to lease that home from me because they're running a business where they're cash flowing over $17,000 a month after paying me, after paying all the staff. They're sitting pretty. I'm sitting pretty. Everybody's happy. So that's one of my favorite.
And so remind me, you're renting that out for how much a month? 12. What would that lease for as a regular single family home?
Well, I wouldn't have done all the renovation and got it ready to go. So that's part of that, right? But because the mortgage on it's 5, if you look up on like rentometer.com, what other homes in the area, they're pulling about $6,500 a month. So I might have been making $1,500. I'm making almost 10 times that doing this. To me, that reno was worth it.
Most definitely. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So what's kind of the sweet spot for the size of these properties, like the number of bedrooms and bath once it's renovated?
Yep. I would say think 300 to 500 square feet of livable space per senior. So if you want 10 seniors, minimum a 3,000 square foot home, upwards of 5,000 is comfortable. And then depending on where you live, the state or city or county or province will have a maximum number of seniors you can have in the home, typically somewhere between 6 and 16. So finding that number and then kind of doing that math backwards tells you what type of square footage you're looking for. But it's really not, it's luxury, it's large, but it's not that great. We're not saying 12,000 square feet,
Right.
Anything between that 5 to 7 is going to be perfect.
And is it kind of ideal for everybody to have their own room and their own bathroom, and that's kind of that's the goal that you're aspiring to?
It's a lot easier to sell or market a private bedroom. Because think about it. If you were moving into one of these homes, I'm coming from my whole own 4,000 square feet to a shared bedroom and a shared bathroom and shared space. That's a hard sell.
Some people say that's bad enough with your spouse, for crying out loud. So it's a stranger. Yeah. Yep.
So I really recommend private bedrooms. A shared bathroom here and there is okay because it's not going to be cookie cutter. Like it's not like a big facility that is cookie cutter, right? A smaller home, you've got to go with the flow of the home. And so there may be a couple shared bathrooms, and that's okay. That's a lot more reasonable. But the bedrooms, you want as many private bedrooms as you can, especially in the private pay space.
Got it. All right. Well, it sounds like there's a lot of pros to this, and obviously you're all about the pros, but there have to be some pitfalls as well. So what are some of the not so great side of residential assisted living?
I would say the number one thing that comes to everyone's mind is, I'm going to get sued. What happens if someone gets hurt or dies, and the liability of it all, right? So obviously it goes without saying that, hey, you can have cameras, you can have insurance, you can, do your best to hire slow and fire fast. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing for us to remember is that in a large community where there may be 30 seniors, 15 seniors to one caregiver, if someone falls, they are being left for an hour or two because that caregiver doesn't have time to go service everyone. The ratios in a smaller facility are 4 to 1 or 5 to 1. So it's a lot easier and faster for us to actually care for the seniors. So those lawsuits and the risk goes down significantly from what we think of in traditional assisted living. But regardless, I would say we live in a litigious society. Stuff happens. People get upset for all sorts of reasons. And so it's vital that you cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure you are protected because stuff does happen.
So you talked a little bit about we're on the cusp of this baby boomer bust of seniors coming in and needing these kind of homes. We're millions of beds short, I think, already. Yeah. So it's just going to get worse. Where do you see things going over the next 5 years or so with residential assisted living?
I mean, there's two major issues. One is we don't have enough beds, right, for all the seniors coming. We know that. That's kind of my bread and butter and what I talk about and why I do this. But the other mega issue that I don't have a solution for, but we should all be scared about, is there's not enough caregivers. We do not have enough staff to care for the coming silver tsunami of seniors. And so
plus a lot of them that could be, they're getting kicked out of the country.
So, there you go. That's nature. It's so, it doesn't matter what you believe politically, but truly 80% of the caregivers in the US are immigrants. Yeah. So when you stop that population from coming in or serving our seniors, who's going to do it? 18-year-olds aren't going to community college to become a CNA. Every generation has their flaws, but that's not what they're excited about doing. And so this is a mega crisis. We have to figure something out because people don't want robots taking care of them. If you're not letting immigrants come in to take care of them, if our young people don't want to do it, but this is a huge need coming. The only thing I see happening is the cost of care skyrocketing because it's going to become who can pay to play. If you can pay, you can get the care. If you can pay, you can get the bed. Now, for someone in my position who has the beds, who controls that, I'm sitting pretty for the next 20 years.
Well, as long as you can get help. But getting help is a challenge for you too, because if that's where a good chunk of your staff is coming from, that's a challenge, right?
But for people who are who need the beds, right? For everyone who doesn't have a bed and needs the beds, that's going to be right now, the average cost of care is $6,200 per month per person. Okay. That's average. So it includes people on government funding as well as those in private pay, and it kind of brings you to that number. It is projected to go up 87% over the next 20 years. Like I'm going to be paying triple, quadruple that by the time I need care. That's insane.
Yeah.
So it's a mega problem. I don't have an answer for it, but it's definitely something that
rich, make sure your kids get rich. That's
or own the beds.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a place to go.
Own your own old folks home. Awesome, Isabelle. Well, thank you very much for sharing some insights about residential assisted living, what it is, how it works, the two opportunities there, just to be the landlord or be the owner operator. Both have their pros and their cons, that's for sure. We didn't touch much on the owner operator side of things, but I think you've got a whole training or something available about that. So if people are interested in finding out more, where should they go?
Yeah, if any of this intrigued you, we are kind of all things residential assisted living. So if you want to learn more, head to ral101.com. I'd love to chat with you. You can schedule a call, download free books, webinars, all sorts of free content and information there. So ral101.com.
Isabelle, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to the Property Profits Podcast. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, apply at daveinterviews.com.